Now, I wasn't around yet in the 1960s, but I was raised by people who were. And let me tell you, those folks knew how to stretch a dollar. This was the decade of station wagons, green stamps, and Tupperware parties. Moms wore aprons, Dad carried pocket change, and nobody tossed out a bread bag without finding a second use for it. And if you needed money advice, you didn't scroll TikTok, you read Sylvia Porter in Ladies' Home Journal. She was one of the most trusted voices in America, helping millions of women navigate rising prices, growing families, and tight budgets, all without shame or fluff. The truth is, frugal living wasn't trendy. It was front page. They weren't documenting their thrift for likes. They were doing it because it worked. So I dug up the exact money-saving habits that helped families thrive back then in the 60s. Practical, specific, and still wildly useful today. Hi, my friend. If you're new here, my name is Sarah, and I'm the owner of FrozenPennies.com. I'm a financial coach and the author of the best-selling book, Fundamentally Frugal, linked below. These are the actual frugal tricks that worked in the 1960s. And more importantly, they still work now, maybe even better today, when everything costs more and common sense feels a little harder to come by. Before we dive in, have you signed up for the Penny Jar yet? It's my free weekly newsletter that comes out every Friday, just once a week, packed with practical frugal living tips to help you save more and stress less, straight to your inbox. No spam, just good stuff. The link's below. Collecting and redeeming SNH Green Stamps. Now, every time you bought groceries, gas, or household goods, you earned stamps. You'd paste them into a little booklet and trade them in for toasters, toys, or towels from a catalog. Entire families would sit around the kitchen table after dinner, licking and sticking each stamp into those little green books like it was a game. It wasn't just about saving money, it felt like earning something, slowly but surely, with a little bit of effort and a lot of anticipation. Kids were involved too, learning patience and the reward of savings. It was normal to hear, "Don't forget to ask for the stamps," at checkout counters. Families got free items by shopping where they already planned to, no extra spending required. It turned everyday purchases into long-term savings and made shopping feel like an investment in your household. You knew those stamps were going to help buy a birthday gift or a new blender, not just disappear. Today, apps like Rakuten or Target Circle mimic these models. Use loyalty programs you'd normally ignore. They add up fast when you stay consistent. And unlike modern points that sometimes expire, these stamps just patiently waited for you to redeem them. There's still something satisfying about earning a reward over time, especially when you're already stretching every dollar. Hosting coffee clatches instead of going out. Women gathered at each other's homes to socialize over homemade coffee and cake. It was cheaper, more personal, and gave everyone a chance to show off their very best Jell-O mold or bundt cake. These gatherings weren't just casual outings. They were part support group, part therapy, and part homemaking showcase. Kids played in the backyard while moms swapped recipes and advice over a percolator and a folding card table. I actually always thought these were called coffee clutches, like clutching a cup of coffee in your hands. Come to find out, I was super wrong. It's a term derived from the German word Kaffeeklatsch, which combines caffee, coffee, and clash, gossip or chat. Nah, I learned something new. There were no restaurant tabs, there were no babysitting costs, or there were no fancy clothes required. Hospitality was low cost and high value, and the entire event could be pulled off with a can of coffee and a box of yellow cake mix. Hosting didn't mean stress, it meant connection. You didn't need matching mugs or Instagram-worthy charcuterie boards, just a warm house and a good gossip session. Today, swap brunch dates for home coffee hangouts. You'll save $20, $30 a pop and still get the connection without the 20% tip. It also brings back that feeling of real-life friendship that doesn't revolve around spending money. Hosting can be simple again, and honestly, that's the charm. And your closest friends don't care if your mop boards have been dusted. Shopping the Sears catalog for everything. The Sears Wish Book was Amazon before Amazon was popular. You could buy everything from pajamas to chicken coops delivered to your door, and often for less than store prices. Kids would spend hours circling their dream toys in the pages, while moms and dads used the catalog to budget for Christmas or big plans like appliances and tools. You didn't just scroll and click, you flipped and dreamed. Catalog shopping brought the world to your living room and made it feel possible to furnish a home one paycheck at a time. Families compared prices and planned purchases, avoiding impulse buys. Shipping was slow, which meant more time to think and less time to act on a whim. There was built-in discipline. And when the packages finally arrived, it felt like a reward, not a routine delivery. Waiting a few days before hitting buy now still works. Use wish lists instead of carts and let items marinate for a while. That built-in delay helps prevent regret purchases. It's a forgotten money-saving tactic in a world of next-day delivery. And honestly, building anticipation again might make you appreciate what you buy a whole lot more. Tupperware parties to score free goods. Tupperware was the OG of multi-level marketing. These weren't just social events, they were shopping events with perks. Hostesses earned free or discounted items based on how much their friends bought. It was a way to outfit your kitchen without ever setting foot in a store. Women would gather around someone's dining table with pastel-colored Tupperware stacked like art, all while sipping coffee and swapping homemade tips. The pressure to buy was gentle and the friendships were genuine. Rather than spending at the department store, women stocked their kitchens with durable goods by earning them, not buying them. And the Tupperware lasted forever. You didn't need to replace a container every few months because it cracked or warped. That pastel burp seal lid might have been left over, packed lunches and party dips for decades. Today, you can bring back the spirit of the Tupperware party by organizing swap events, joining co-op buys, or pooling orders to earn discount. Host a pantry good exchange or a bulk buy club with friends. You'll save money, reduce waste, and keep that old school community vibe alive. Shopping doesn't have to be isolating, and saving money can still be a group activity. Cooking from the Betty Crocker cookbook and nothing else. Cookbooks were treasured. You didn't need 200 Pinterest tabs, just one reliable book with simple filling recipes. The Betty Crocker cookbook sat on the kitchen shelves like a trusted family member. Its pages were dog-eared, smudged with flour, and held handwritten notes in the margins. Use less salt, add cinnamon, or Dad's favorite. It didn't matter if dinner was meatloaf again. What mattered was that it was homemade, hot, and served at the same time every night. Meals were planned around pantry staples: flour, sugar, rice, eggs, and canned goods. There were no weekly trips for specialty ingredients or imported cheeses. Leftovers were expected, and casseroles stretched whatever was available. It wasn't glamorous, but it was practical, filling, and full of love. Today, commit to just one cookbook for the month and cook through it. It'll reduce decision fatigue, food waste, and impulse delivery orders. You'll probably rediscover some lost recipes that still taste like home, and in a world of endless online recipes, going analog might bring back the simplicity and the sanity of knowing what's for dinner before hangry hits. Cooking with electric skillets and hot plates. Before air fryers and instant pots took over our countertops, the electric skillet was the crown jewel of the 1960s kitchen. These plug-in pans could fry chicken, bake casseroles, and even simmer stews, all without firing up the oven. In homes without central air, this was a big deal. Using a stove in summer could turn your kitchen into a sauna. So the electric skillet became the secret weapon of every smart homemaker trying to keep cool while feeding a crowd. These appliances were energy efficient, portable, and built to last. One appliance could cook a dozen different meals, and it didn't heat up the entire house in the process. You'd often see an electric skillet sitting proudly in the middle of the dinner table, bubbling away while someone made biscuits from scratch. Today, the same mindset applies. Skip the oven when it's hot or you are on a tight electric budget. Use small appliances like slow cookers, induction burners, or even air fryers to get dinner done without spiking your utility bill. And if you come across a vintage electric skillet at a thrift store, snag it. They were made like tanks and still hold up 60 years later. Now, I actually have an electric skillet that I use every single day. It heats up fast and nothing ever sticks. It saves so much work scrubbing the stovetop. I can't imagine wanting to use anything else, and I've had mine since 2016. But they have some nice ceramic ones on Amazon for around $50. I'll leave a link if you want to look at them in the description. Homemade TV dinners from leftovers. Frozen meals hit the market hard in the 1960s, but not every family could afford the convenience. Instead, many homemakers made their own TV dinners. packing leftovers into divided aluminum trays, covering them with foil, and popping them in the freezer for later. It was smart, it was thrifty, and it was way ahead of its time. These meals were often labeled with masking tape and stacked neatly in a chest freezer, ready to heat up on a busy weeknight. Homemade freezer meals turned Sunday dinner into Thursday's lifesaver. Leftover meatloaf and mashed potatoes? That was Tuesday night sorted. A scoop of peas and a half a chicken breast? Perfect for lunch. Nothing went to waste, not even a spoonful of gravy. And because people were eating what they'd already cooked, it meant fewer grocery trips and a lot less temptation to grab takeout. This is meal prepping's classy grandmother. Today, you can still freeze leftovers in individual portions using glass containers or silicone molds. You'll reduce food waste, avoid the cost of prepackaged frozen meals, and always have something homemade and delicious ready to go. The only thing missing is that tiny little dessert compartment. Saving soap slivers in a mesh bag. Bar soap was way too precious to waste, so families would collect the leftover pieces, those thin, awkward slivers, and save them in a mesh bag or a piece of old pantyhose. Once enough were gathered, they were tied up and used just like a new bar. It wasn't glamorous, but it worked. Bathrooms always had a soap dish with a stack of little ends fused together like a patchwork bar. Soft, mishappen, but still perfectly good. Buying soap was infrequent, and collecting slivers became a quiet ritual. Nothing was wasted, not even the tiny pieces you could barely grip. Kids learned early that almost gone didn't mean throw it out. It meant figure out a way to reuse it. Today, the same habits can be used for shampoo bars, condition bars, travel-size soaps, or handmade bath bars. Press leftovers into a new mold or store them in a sizzle pouch to stretch their use. It's a small practice, but when multiplied across a household, it saves money and teaches mindfulness. It's one more way to stop the constant cycle of tossing and buying and start using what we already have to the very end. Painting and repairing furniture instead of replacing. A chipped dresser didn't mean shopping for a new one. It meant sanding and repainting it on a Saturday afternoon, often with whatever paint was left over in the garage. Kids' bedroom furniture changed colors more often than the seasons. Bright blue one year, pale yellow the next. Not because of trends, but because that's what was available. Scratches were covered, wobbly legs were glued, and cushions were restuffed long before anyone thought about buying new. Furniture lasted for decades because it was repaired instead of replaced. Even coffee tables had stories. Maybe Grandpa built it, or maybe it had a burn mark from someone forgetting a coaster. That didn't mean it got tossed. It meant it was loved, patched, and passed on. The idea that furniture should match or be brand new didn't exist in most homes. Function came first, always. Give new life to worn pieces with chalk paint stain or even just new hardware. The DIY revival means you can make it cute again without spending a dime on something new. And when you fix something with your own two hands, even if it's imperfect, it tends to mean a whole lot more. We're using greeting cards and gift wrap. Every birthday, wedding, or holiday came with a little ritual. Carefully removing tape from gift wrap so it wouldn't tear, flattening out bows to use again next time, and placing the nicest greeting cards in a drawer just in case. Some families even cut out the picture on cards and reuse them as gift tags the following year. It wasn't weird, it was expected. The pretty paper from Christmas morning often made a second appearance the next Christmas. Holiday and birthday costs stayed low because nothing was single use. Wrapping paper was folded and stacked in a box under the bed. Ribbons were wound into toilet paper tubes. Even tissue paper got smoothed out and tucked away. Sometimes it got ironed. It was about more than saving a few cents. It was about honoring the value of things and respecting the effort it took to buy them in the first place. Start saving the good stuff. Reuse bags, wrap in old maps or newspapers, or invest in reusable cloth wraps. Not only does it save money and reduce waste, but it brings back that homemade, thoughtful feel of gift giving. And when someone sees that familiar paper on a new package, they smile because that's what tradition looks like. Making your own cleaning rags from old clothes. Now, worn out towels, pajamas, old shirts were all cut into rags and used to clean everything from windows to floors. Every household had a rag drawer full of soft, faded scraps and had lived a whole life as something else. Your old flannel nightgown? It might be wiping down a stove next week. Dad's undershirts? Now they were perfect for polishing mirrors without streaks. There was no need to buy paper towels, microfiber cloths, or overpriced cleaning wipes. Cleaning was done with what you already had. If something got too stained to wear, it still had one last job to do. Some families even have color-coded rags, one for the bathroom, one for the car, one for dusting furniture. Everything had a purpose, even at the end of its usefulness. Start a rag bin under your sink or in the laundry room. Use old socks for dusting blinds, cut up t-shirts for polishing, and frayed towels for really heavy messes. You'll save money, reduce waste, and keep useful fabric out of landfills. And there's a strange kind of joy in seeing your son's old pajama shirt live on as your favorite window cloth. Softer with every use and still doing good. Now, we tend to think of the 1960s as a time of social change and big hair, but it was also a time when frugal living was second nature. People didn't call it minimalism or intentional living, they just called it living. And maybe that's the lesson. Frugal doesn't have to mean deprivation. It can mean being resourceful, thoughtful, and proud of what you already have. So whether you're nostalgic for the past or just trying to survive the present, these 1960s money hacks are worth dusting off. They saved families then, and they can still save yours now. And if this video spoke to you, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and watch this video next.